Coming up and down under EV Adventures, I get a Volvo petrol car. Yikes! It's a loan car that I had for about 9 days or so while my car was getting looked at, and I used it to tow a trailer, and then I had to drive it back to Perth to pick up my car. Yippee! Here's the story. Welcome back to Down Under EV Adventures. Great to have you with me as always. And this is a story about a Volvo XC60, which is a petrol car and a mild hybrid, but we'll talk more about that later. Now, you already may know part of the story, that I had to take my car back to Perth. I'll put a link in the description, but this is me getting my trailer tested in Perth. Now, the reason I had to do that was Volvo wanted me to confirm that there was absolutely nothing wrong with my trailer, which there wasn't, and I took it back to Volvo. Unfortunately, they weren't able to diagnose the problem in the time that I was in Perth, and that is the reason why they lent me the petrol loan car to take back to Kalgoorlie. This is the auto electrician here that I went to in Osborne Park, Auto Spark there. And anyway, it was very good of Volvo to lend me a rather expensive car to take back to Kalgoorlie. It was, I thought, pretty good service from them, although it was obviously a bit inconvenient. Now, I had to leave my trailer behind. That's some pictures of my car there going to Perth with my trailer. And anyway, this episode is about my trip back to Kalgoorlie with the Volvo XC60, and then I used it in Kalgoorlie, and then I took it back to Perth. So that's what this episode is all about. So how did I find the car? And a little bit of information about it. As usual with most of my episodes, I've divvied it up into chapters, so you can go ahead and just choose whatever chapter interests you if you don't want to watch the whole episode. The car review is much later on in the episode. Okay, and before we get going, I should just point out I've decided to just drive straight through. I'm going to maybe have a sleep somewhere on the way, but it's 600 kilometers and roughly 6.5 hours plus petrol stops. Let's join me in real time. Just reset the trip meter. Unfortunately, the trip meter automatic is already from the earlier trip I did today. That's okay because the information I need will be on the left. So this loan car's got 12,973 kilometers. So I'm guessing somebody only had it for a year and then traded it in, or else it's a demo model. The layout's very similar to quite a few of the Volvos I've driven. It's all pretty intuitive. But of course, it's a petrol car. It's a petrol station. I'm just going to do a voiceover here because I had some music playing and I don't want to get a copyright strike. So I put 98 in, and I was surprised to learn it was less than $1.70 a litre, so petrol's definitely has come down a little bit in price. Anyway, the economy was sitting on about 8.9 litres, but I'd only done about 35 kilometres at this stage. Okay, back to me in real time. So there's a few facts and figures. We're sticking on about 112, 113, which is 110 on the GPS. And you can see today's trip so far, 7.7 litres per 100, which isn't bad for a car of this weight and size. Parked in Kellerberrin. Just gonna see if I can get a couple of hours sleep here before continuing on. Sleep in the passenger seat and Zoe's in the driver's seat over there. After a quick nap, I'm back on the road. We've done 519 kilometers, saying there's still 550 k's range, so it's like you could probably get around 1,000 kilometers if there's no wind and it's fairly flat. 7.3 litres per 100 since we left Perth, which is, I have to say, pretty darn good. I think any of my previous cars got that for such a long trip. Okay, those are the final figures. 7.3 litres per 100, 602.9 kilometres. Not bad. Okay, so I'm home after driving through the night there, and I hook up the XC60 to the trailer, and let's have a look how it went. Okay, so I've just put the trailer on for work, reset the trip meter, let's see how good this car is at towing this quite heavy trailer. It's my old trailer which I sold to a friend. It's my old trailer which I used to have, probably 3 or 4 years ago. It's a good trailer, but this is when I had a diesel vehicle. Obviously this trailer is a lot heavier and not very aerodynamic at all. I'm not sure about the weight. I'm guessing maybe 450 kilograms maybe for this trailer. So yeah, we'll see how it goes with this XC60 pulling it. Right, that's the final figures there. 14.7 litres per 100. I think we might have got a little bit better than that if I'd used this a bit longer term. I was doing a lot of short trips, but on the whole that's not too bad. Probably comparable to what I used to get years ago with my diesel. So I used the car for roughly a week there in Kalgoorlie, and it seemed to do an okay job towing and was reasonably economical. Of course, it's no substitute for an EV in my opinion. Anyway, now we're ready to take the car back to Perth. Here's ouch. Just filled up the car ready for my trip back to Monday. And for my trip back, because I've got a petrol car, it's been a long time since I've gone off the highway, north of the highway that is. I turn off at Southern Cross, I head up towards Mukinbudin and then to my destination, which is in Gabbin. It's 4.5 hours and 414 k's. I'm leaving Kalgoorlie now, and I've left the trip meter from since when I filled up. So I've only done 37 k's since I filled up. So just north of Southern Cross, about 20 odd k's, this cool natural bridge. Sort of like a limestone rock it looks like. Anyway, let's have a look at it. I spent some time exploring it. Alright, I'm just about to leave Mukinbudin. You can see a little bit higher economy. And when I came to Kalgoorlie, I think because I've got a little bit of a breeze today, crosswind and some headwind. So 8 litres per 100 so far since I've filled up. Today 7.8, but that was with a little bit of driving around Kalgoorlie as well. A nice peaceful stay at that farm accommodation. I'll put a link in the description for the review I did if you're interested. It's on to Perth, 257 k's and around about 3 hours, and I do stop and wash the car before I return it to Volvo. And this is the tiny little town, wheatbelt town of Koorda. I've stayed here before. Cute little town, not much here. Now just as I'm driving out of Koorda here, one great thing about the cruise control here, so if you just press this button once, it'll go up in increments of 5 kilometers. So you can see 70, 75, but if you hold it down, it'll go up in increments of just 1, which is really good. So if you want a particular speed, it's particularly useful like if you want to nail 110 exactly. So like most cars, the speedometer is out on this, and you actually need to go 112 or 113 to get 100 there on the GPS. So it's quite a useful feature. I love that you can just go up by 1 kilometer if you want to, or down as well. You can do it as well. So this is another little town called Dowerin, which has quite a big agricultural show every year, which we've been to once, which is quite interesting. Very small little town, only a few hundred people. And now I thought I'd give you just a very quick review of what I think of the XC60. Let's start inside the car. Okay, so the layout is very similar to the XC40 which I've got. I've got the built-in dash cluster, which is very similar. You just don't have anything to do with the electrics because obviously it's a petrol car. You've got this cool little twist to turn on and off the ignition, like so. Gear lever is exactly the same. You've got the nice crystal one, which I think is on the updated models. Park brake, auto hold there. Very similar layout too. That's for stopping the music. And then you've got the demisters, very handy there. Hazard lights. And this one, the software is very similar, but just like I said, there's nothing of course to do with the range or charging because it's a petrol car. Excellent Google integrated system as normal, and this car comes with a Bowers and Wilkins sound system, which is pretty cool. You can see you got these lovely silver highlights on the speakers, which look pretty cool. You can see it goes all along there, which is very nice. Then you've got the cool touch control to open the sunroof, which is pretty good. The sunroof actually opens as far as that, and the shade, and then you just do that to close it all, which is pretty good. I love the built-in shade they've got on it too. That's really good. Memory seats, and this is all pretty standard, the controls there. No felt lining though on this car, so bit of hard plastics at the bottom. You have got a bolster control here, and then this is for your lumbar support, and then of course fully electric leather seats. Sit in the back because I've got all my stuff in there. Suffice it to say, it's quite roomy in the back here. It's a longer car than the XC40. So if the XC40 reminds me of the Subaru Forester, this car reminds me of the Subaru Outback. Now you've got 20-inch tyres, 255/45s, and they're actually the same on the front as the back, which is useful if you want to carry a spare. However, it still only comes with a space saver. Back looks pretty good, and of course it's got a tow bar, which is why they lent it to me, an all-wheel drive model. Space saver is under there. This is the space saver from my XC40. I brought it back to Perth because I only just got it in the mail, and then I'm going to put that in my XC40. See, a bit more space, and you've got a great luggage cover here, which you can have in 2 positions. You can have it up a bit higher if you want to, or you can pull it down and then lock it into a lower position. And then you've got 2 controls for locking or just to close it. I think this might be the next model, or eventually Volvo will make this into a full EV. Be interesting to see. I do like the lights at the back, they look pretty cool. Styling's quite nice on it, and as you can see it's a bit longer than the XC40. So I think the styling looks pretty good on it. Quite a nice looking car. There's great looking headlights there, which look really, really nice. Okay, so we're about to leave Dowerin to continue on with our trip, and there we go. So that's a quick check of the economy. Let's get going. Alright, and that's the final one. I'm in Perth, 681.4 kilometres, 7.8 litres. We managed to get up to 88 kilometres an hour with all those twisty roads that I drove on. And that's the final stats. I did the right thing and filled up the car, ready to return it. I'm just at the car wash, giving the car a nice clean before I give it back. And it was good that Volvo lent me this car, I really appreciate it. So I had it for, yeah, around about 8 or 9 days. So yeah, it was actually on the 8th day I returned the car. I could have had it a little bit longer, but luckily my Volvo XC40 was rectified, and as I mentioned in the previous episode I did, it was a software issue. Isn't it always a software issue? Anyway, so the car was pretty good, I have to say, as far as petrol cars go. As I mentioned earlier on, it's a mild hybrid, and it does have a 10 kilowatt battery helping it as well, which is probably why it got quite good fuel economy and, you know, a pretty good range of around 1,000 kilometers a tank, or even a little bit more than that, which I thought was pretty good. So anyway, that was my trip. I got my car back, and it's been smooth sailing ever since. And as you know, I just came back from a beautiful trip up the coast of Western Australia, and I'm pleased to say the car is performing well, towing and otherwise. But that's it for today though. We have got some interesting episodes coming up, including my wife's Atto, which is coming up to 2 years old, so we're going to do a little review on that. So thank you very much again, really appreciate it, and we'll leave you with Zoe, and of course we'll see you with more on Down Under EV Adventures real soon. Okay, take care and bye for now.